Renee.
And I'm Anjalice.
And we're the hosts of your podcast,
Hidden But Not Unseen. Welcome to episode 7.
Episode 7, guys.
Yes.
That's a holy number.
Yeah, it is. But before we go into the icebreaker, we just want to wish you guys a happy new year. It's been a while.
Yeah, a little bit, but we're back. And yeah, it's a new year.
Yeah.
We're excited for what the new year brings, not only for us, but for you guys as well. And yeah, we just hope that it's amazing for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Hope the first month has been good so far.
Yeah.
And that you guys keep your goals and your new habits going.
Yeah, because those are important, you know, new year, new me type stuff. And then we always fail to do new me type stuff.
Towards like the second month of.
Like the second day.
True.
We always are like, yeah, oh my God. And then never do it. But anyways, besides the point, stick to your habits, man, because those things, like the good ones, not like the bad ones. Don't stick to the bad ones, but the good ones, you know, those are the things that change you and make you into a new person. So stick with them.
Yeah. I'm
trying my hardest to do that. And yeah, it's going good so far. What about you?
Oh.
You're like, what? No.
I think they're going good. Yeah. I mean, it's still the beginning.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can keep up with it.
Continue. Yeah.
Right. But it's pretty good.
That's what's up.
Yep. So we're going to go into our icebreaker question.
Yes, we are. You know, we always do that every episode. So this episode's icebreaker question: would you rather be the center of attention or go unnoticed?
I feel like anyone could answer this question for me.
Yeah, I definitely can.
If you know me, obviously. But I would choose to go
unnoticed. Be the center of attention.
No, not at all.
Not even close, guys.
I mean, I feel like I do live a life that goes unnoticed. That sounds so bad.
That sounds
so bad.
And sad.
I know. I'm sorry. Whatever. I just like to not be the center of attention. Like, quite the opposite. Like, don't put me on blast. Like, I will hate it.
Yep.
It's the worst for me. But what about you?
I would say the same thing. You know, I'm not trying to be center of attention because that's a lot of pressure on me.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be seen like that.
Oh,
you know,
it's terrifying.
Like I said, it's a lot of pressure on you because then, you know, you might have to feel like you keep up this reputation or whatever. Yeah. And I am already too stressed out about it. So the answer is no. Absolutely no. I would like to go unnoticed. And that's usually where I stay. Yeah. Also, like, for the most part.
Yeah.
Or at least I feel like I do. I'm not like
out there.
Put me in the front.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'd rather not.
Right.
I
will never like be like those people that are like considered like class clowns that like,
oh yeah,
you know, they'll like talk whatever,
or like the popular in front of kid everyone or whatever.
No, I'm just gonna stay in the corner of the classroom and just mind my own business.
For real.
Do my work.
Any party I've ever gone to, like any social event, like I've always not, like I'm not the one to go to the dance floor first, or I'm not the one to like, you know, go to the front of the line and do whatever. I'm always like, no, I'm cool if I stay in this corner. Like, if you don't talk to me, whatever, I'll observe everything from where I'm at.
People watch.
Yes.
It's my favorite.
It's fun to do. But
it is.
Yeah. Unnoticed. 100% unnoticed.
Yes. That's good. So our topic today of episode 7 is actually on surrender.
Yes, surrender. What an amazing topic.
I know.
To talk about. I feel like this year, even though it just started, like it's come up a lot.
So much, yes.
So I think it's perfect. But before we get into that, we get into surrender, disclaimer, we are not theologians. So we did not go to school to study this all the way, but we did our research to like understand this topic and give you guys, you know, valid stuff. You know, we went to our Bible and all of that. And we hope that you guys do the same as we, you know, or as you listen to this episode.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
So what is surrender, you may ask?
Yeah.
I always think, like, obviously if you aren't a Christian, I always think like of like the white flag, like in movies and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But the definition of surrender is to relinquish possession or control of something to another because of a demand.
Okay. What does that mean?
So basically, it's kind of like submitting or like to stop resisting or stop fighting. My personal definition of surrender is, at least in the Christian point of view, I think it's like trusting God's plan more than what you think your life should look like, and like accepting that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I see that. I guess like for me, in along the same lines or whatever.
Right.
For me, my definition of surrender is like it's a step of faith to even begin to surrender. Like that's you saying like gotta let go of everything, like anything that could distract me or like anything that's my desire that doesn't look like your desire or line up with your perfect will for my life. Like I let go of that and I let you have control.
Yeah.
It's you showing that you trust God. And
Right.
like I said before, like it is a step of faith to be able to even like say,
think about it. Yeah.
Right. It's tough. You know, you're sitting there like, you know, I desire this, that, and the other. And it might not be bad stuff.
Right.
But for you to say, okay, God, though it's not bad, and though I would love this for my life, obviously you know the best. So I give it to you so that like you can do what you want to do. And I think a verse that kind of like goes along with that pretty well. It's in Proverbs 23:26. It says, "My son, give me your heart and let your eyes observe, or in other words, delight in my ways." So that's surrendering you, giving yourself up to God, and then keeping your eyes focused on him and seeing the things that he wants for your life.
Yeah.
And all of that good jazz. Like delighting in his way instead of your way. And usually his way, one, is better than our way.
Right.
And then two, it usually results in it being some of the things that we desire as well too.
Right.
You know? So it's a good thing.
Sure.
But you know, a really cool example of just surrender in the Bible is the beginning of the book of the Bible. You know, it's in Genesis, it's found in Genesis, and it's talking about Abraham. And the one thing that he had ever desired in his life was a son.
Yeah.
This man didn't get a son until he was 100. Like this man was old.
Imagine waiting 100 years to get what you actually desire.
That's crazy. I don't know. Will I even live to be 100 years old?
Right.
To even get the one thing that I desire.
It's a long time to wait.
It is. Anyways, but he finally gets his son, and then 20 some years later, God is like, okay, now that you have the son that I promised you, like, go surrender him to me. But Abraham, he said, yeah. He was like, okay, cool. And the thing that's crazy is that Isaac was like 20 some too.
Yeah.
And he was
already
like, okay.
in his 20s.
Yeah, he was like, okay, cool. Like, if it's for the Lord, I will go do it. And so that's a really cool example of just like the willingness and the openness that it takes, the faith that it takes for you to be able to submit and surrender yourself to what God like is asking you to do. And then in the end, Isaac was fine.
Right.
God provided a different way, but it was just a testing of his faith to say like, do you really trust me with your whole entire life?
Right. Even if your one desire that I've given you,
the one thing,
goes away.
Crazy.
That's so crazy.
Ugh. It reminds me of me, but man, we won't go into that right now. I don't think.
So why does God want us to surrender in the first place?
Man, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, God obviously needs his will to be done.
Right.
But like we have our will that we created in our mind for some reason.
Because we are humans and want things.
We have desires and wants. And so we need to get out of the way.
Okay.
So that his will can actually be done. In Matthew...
That's good.
Yeah, I know. In Matthew 6:10, it actually says, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven."
Yeah, that comes from the Lord's Prayer.
Right, yeah. And so just like knowing that God's will is better than yours just means you just need to surrender your desires and your will and get out of the way.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think it also like a reason that God really wants us to surrender is because like it teaches us, it kind of goes along, well, not really. It teaches us to rely on him like completely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are always so dependent on our own selves and like the things of this world.
Right.
And then we don't depend on the thing that's constant and true. So God is just trying to teach us that like as we depend on him and as we rely on him, like, I don't know, there's just like favor and blessing and things that come like after that. So as we surrender, though it may seem tough at the beginning, And as we rely on him, like we just see just the fruit of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also like he just wants this goes along the same line as what I said.
Yeah.
But like he just wants access to us. So like as we
That's
open
true.
up ourselves to him and give ourselves over to him, like he's able to access like our desires. Like you're giving him the will to be in your life and to work things out.
Yeah.
Like through this surrender. So I think that's like a reason why he wants us to do these things. You know? And then it kind of just, I don't know, made me think about Matthew 11:30, where it talks about like his yoke is easy and his burden is light. Like we go through the world with our own burdens and our own things, and these things weigh on us. But as we surrender to God, as we rely on him and give him access, like he gives us his yoke and his burden, which is light. Like we don't have to do these things on our own. He steps in with us and alleviates all of that. You know? And then also like another thing just to see is Isaiah 55:9. I'm pretty sure we've mentioned this before, but it just talks about how the heavens are higher than the earth, and like that his ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts higher than our thoughts. So as we surrender to him, like, I don't know, he just knows better. He knows the best.
He sees the full picture.
And so like by submitting to that, by surrendering to that, like we get to be a part of the better ways.
Right.
And the higher ways.
That's good. I think that the challenging part of surrender is, do you actually believe that it's better than your own plan, though? Right? What do you think?
Right. That's a really good question. And to like sit and think about that. Yes. My answer right now, like being where I am right now, is yes, I believe that his plans are better than my plans. If you had asked me this before, I probably would have said no and just been like, I don't know. Like, I know what I want. And so then I think my plan right now is better because I'm pursuing that thing and I want to go after that thing. So I don't know what God has for me, but I already feel like what I want to do is better, because sometimes you look at, if I go for this career, I get X amount of money. If I do this, I'll have this. If I go this way, I'll have this. So then we look at the physical and the tangible and we think, oh, that's better than anything that God could ever give us. But being where I'm at right now, like I can see that like God's plan is better because he knows better. Yeah. And even though like that does mean like me letting go of some of the things that I want, it doesn't mean that it's over. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, regardless of like, I can say for me, a desire is a family, right? Yeah. I don't have a family now. Right. And it's not like God doesn't want me to have a family, but as I submit and go under God's plan, like I found that his desire is also for me to have that, but he wants me to have it in the best way, not the way that I want to have it. Exactly. So it just makes it better for me to just say, yeah, man, like God's plans are better. And even though I don't know what they are all the time, even though I can't see why they're better, I can feel that they're better. Yeah. So I'm down for it. What about you? How do you feel about this?
I actually know that his plan is better than my own.
Come on.
But I feel like it took a long time to like actually believe that it's better. Like when you first start surrendering stuff to God, you're like, I don't know, I don't want to, but like I'll give you a little bit. Right. And like then you just like, then you kind of see him use that, and then you give him a little bit more and a little bit more and a little more. Yeah. And then eventually when you're just like, okay, you can have everything. Yeah. I literally don't know what I'm doing in life, so just take it all and do what you want. Like you see his hand on your life, and so like you just see the fruit of all of it, and you just see God moving in ways that you didn't even plan. Like, what? Yeah. Like, you're just like, how did this happen from where you were and like where I am now, like where you are now? How do you get there? And it's literally because surrendering little by little, like God will use those things and like make it his will for your life. Yeah. And you don't actually know the full extent of your will until you surrender.
Right. And I think that just like proves what faithfulness can do. Yeah. Like, period. You know, I tell you this and Shakira this a lot as of right now, because to be in the position of a friend that gets to see your friend get elevated because of their faithfulness and because of I'm surrendering, you know, to God what I want, and then he goes and he supplies like more than you could ever think about or imagine. Like, it's really cool to be in this position. So like to see those faith steps from this side is like awesome. Come on, people, surrender. Just surrender and you'll see what God does. I'm telling you, he's crazy. It's good when you do.
Yeah.
And then you get to see.
Always good. God is good.
And then you get to see like what happens after that. But you know, the position of surrender, right? Like whether you do it or you don't, like it really just shows your heart and your willingness to let God be the Lord of your life.
Right.
And like reign over your entire life.
Yeah.
If you don't let him do that, if you don't surrender, I feel like you just be kind of like in the same position. Like you're not moving forward.
You're stuck.
More than likely, you might be moving backwards or stuck.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no progression towards good or better things. But when you do, like if you're willing to let God move in your life, work in your life by you humbly submitting to him, like things just change. And like being an intern, and especially a second year intern, like I get to kind of lead the next generation of the voice of, you know, what is to come. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, yo, this internship program can be amazing. And it is amazing, but as long as you're willing.
Yeah.
Because some people come in and they're not willing or they're stuck in their ways and then they don't move forward and they don't do anything. But as long as you're willing to change and you're willing to submit under God's authority, under the authority that's even above you that God has placed,
right?
Like you will just see like just how much you go from one place to the next place.
Yeah.
But like in a good way.
Yes.
You know, not just like, oh, I went from one place to the next place and the next place was worse.
No.
Like it's like the next place is better and you're like constantly getting changed and molded into the person that God has created you to be.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Also, I think when we understand that what we actually see in the physical world is temporary, and we understand like the stuff that we don't see is eternal, like our willingness to surrender increases.
Okay.
And it just reminds me of like our verse for like the podcast, which is 2 Corinthians 4:18. And it says, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like trying to remember to be kingdom minded and just like knowing that obviously at the end of this life, like just depending on like what we decide, you know, we'll be with in heaven with God or in hell.
Yeah.
And like being able to surrender in this world, like we're just able to actually get a little glimpse of, you know, what God's will is for us here, so that when we get, you know, to heaven, hopefully in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Like we can actually, you know, spend eternity with him, but that we can have our will or his will for us be done on earth.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And I think like just in surrender, like a really good example of surrender,
like the main
and like
one?
when you definitely the main one, but kind of just being kingdom minded or whatever, which is exactly what Jesus was. Like we see that through that, like he surrendered his whole entire life for us, you know, and it was the will of the Father, you know, like that alone should help us to understand what like he was the perfect example for, you know, everything that we do, but you know, just what surrender really looks like. And we actually see it through every part of Jesus's life, but a really, really cool just moment that we get to see is found in Matthew, and it's actually when he was in the garden, you know, right before he got betrayed, where he's praying to God and just asking, and just like this man was going so crazy that he started sweating blood, which I have never prayed that hard. But
maybe I should. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I should start changing the way that like I pray.
Yeah.
Start bleeding when I pray or something. I don't know. But anyways, it's found in Matthew 26:42, and this is the second time that he's going back to prayer. So like he goes to the garden with his disciples, right? And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go pray over here. Y'all keep watch. Y'all stay alert. His disciples was like, cool, got you. Fell asleep. And Jesus was like, yo, y'all can't even do this one thing for me. This one thing.
Yeah.
Just keep your eyes open. You can't even do that for me. So he's like, all right, whatever. He wakes him up, and then he goes back to pray, and then he says this. He's like, my Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it. So he's talking about this sacrifice and dying on the cross. If it can't pass unless I drink it, your will be done.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, all right, cool. Like, if this is what it is,
he's surrendering.
Though, like, it hurts, and though I don't want to die, though I don't want to do, you know.
Right. It's painful.
Yeah. He's like, if it's your will be done. That's kingdom mindset.
Yeah.
All right. That's being focused on what God wants for your life.
Right.
Than what you want for your life. Because he said, yo, homie, I really don't want to take this cup, but I will.
Because it's your will.
Right. And then he died for all of us so that we could be saved. What kind of dude?
Gosh.
What kind of God?
The ultimate
sacrifice, but it's also the ultimate surrender.
Yeah.
Like, he was born into this world for this purpose.
Yeah. He was human just like us. We'll have God, you know, have man. But he, like, of course he didn't want to go through that.
No.
Like, who would?
Nobody. Nobody's like, you know what? I'm going to die for everybody, and I'm going to take all their sins away. Because, you know what? Yeah, I like pain, and I want to die.
Right.
Like, nobody says that. Nobody's comfortable in the pain. But, you know, one thing that I found out is that surrender is very painful because you're giving up the things that you want and that you, like, so desire.
So badly.
So bad.
You're like, but God, I want this.
Right. And he's like, just give it to me. And you're like, no. Like, for me, it was school. I've talked about it, I think, a little bit before. I don't know if it was on this podcast or if it's just regular conversation. But for me, it's school, you know. Like, I was like, I'm so close to being done. I'm going to be done soon. And God was like, join internship. And I said, say what? I was like, so you want me to just quit? You just want me to not do this? But the reason why I brought up Abraham in the beginning was because that was the moment that I had at the altar crying, where it was like, yo, are you willing to submit and surrender the very thing that I've given you? Yeah. Are you able to put that on the altar for me so that I could bless you, so that I could work in your life or whatever? And it was the toughest moment for me. Yeah. But I said yes. Amen. It happened again, literally this past Sunday.
Oh, you love God.
My plan was still to go to school and whatnot. But I had recently, now, before whatever. So I'm in internship, and internship usually it's for people who are like, I'm gonna go to ministry. Like, this is what I want to do, whatever. Now, I had never ever accepted the call of ministry over my life because I didn't think ministry was for me. Like, in the sense that I viewed ministry. I was like, no, I'm not going to be a pastor. I'm not going to do missions. I'm not going to do these things. But, like, whatever it is, I feel like what I want to do and ministry are going to go hand in hand. Right. But I had never been like, I'm going to do ministry to anybody. So God wrecked my life. Of course, that's what he does. Yeah. And I finally accepted the call of ministry over my life. Now, on Sunday, our first Sunday back to The Voice, our pastor, Pastor Sonia, preached a word, and she talked about, like, the living sacrifice, and then she talked about giving up something twice. So for Abraham, that was his son. Like, he got this promise. He got, you know, like, he made the sacrifice to follow God, and God was like, okay, I'm going to give you this promise. He finally got his promise, and God was like, now I'm going to take it away. So that's him sacrificing these things, like, twice. And so it literally clicked in my head. Like, after she said that, I was like, dang, you want me to sacrifice school again? I was like, I can't do this. And it hurt, but at the same time, I was like, but God, I'd rather be in your perfect will than anything else. So if you are calling me to do this, even though it hurts, sure. I don't know where it's gonna take me or whatever, or what that even means for my life later, but sure. Have it.
You can have it all.
Right. But yeah.
Surrender isn't fun.
No, it's not.
Like, there's not one instance that I can think of where surrender will be fun.
Where you're like, woo, I love surrender. Give me all of the surrender.
Here, take it, everything.
Take it all, take it all. No.
Yeah, like it's gonna hurt your flesh, but when you understand it and you know how you're allowing God to step in and move in your life, you just know everything will be better than you can even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, because you're trusting God with your life, and we know God can do anything.
Yeah.
And he can make, he's God.
Yeah. Just like as you're saying, kind of just like these things, they will hurt your flesh, but ultimately, like, it's okay, because Galatians 5:24, it says, like, those who belong to Jesus Christ have crucified their flesh with their passions and their desires. So like, you belong to God when you know that it hurts and you crucify your flesh.
Yeah.
Like, you crucify and give these things to God, because crucifying is just, a way of letting go of what you want, in a sense, right? So you're letting go of all these passions and desires, so they're gonna hurt, but ultimately, like, you belong to Jesus, so things will be okay in the end.
Yeah, and that's like literally what I hold on to.
Right.
Like, it's fine. But I think the like biggest thing that I like to remember is like, God will always give back more than you gave up.
Right. It's not like, which is funny because I was just thinking about this or whatever, which it goes hand in hand, but like, he's not taking these things away. Like, he's not saying like, okay, you want a family? Give it to me. Now you're not going to have a family. He's never taking these things away. He's like, okay, you want a family? Let me hold that. Let me just hold it for you real quick. And promise that when I give it back to you, like, it's going to be more than you ever imagined. Like, it's going to be better than what you ever thought. Like, it's always that thing where he talks about like, you give this and then tenfold it'll be returned to you, and 100-fold it'll be returned to you. That's what this is. You surrender these things, and it's not in hopes that this, like, that's not the reason why you should surrender. It's like, okay, well, if I let go of this thing, tenfold it's going to be given, 100-fold it'll be given to me. But it's just a promise and a blessing that you see, that like, through these faithful acts, like, Abraham was able to get a son. Like, he, even though it just seemed impossible, he was able to get that blessing.
Yeah, God honors your faithfulness.
Right. So like, man, these rewards are gonna be crazy, man.
Yeah, it reminds me of this book. I think it's called The Dream Giver. I don't know, but Brooklyn made me read it.
Shout out to Brooklyn. We love you, dude.
I love Brooklyn. And it's like a short like book, but it's like, it's kind of like a parable, and they don't use like real names, so it's like, he's called like nobody, I think, and so he's on his journey to become somebody, but basically he has to give up his dream to God. And it just reminds me of this, because like, he's like confused in the book, because he's like, why did you give me this dream if you're gonna take it away?
Right. That's how I felt, y'all.
Yeah, it's like, why? Like, literally, I didn't have, like, let's say you don't have a dream, God gives you a dream,
you're like, whoa.
And you're like, dope, I'm running with this, and then God's like, give it back. And you're just like, wait, what?
No, thank you.
What do you mean give it back? You gave it to me in the first place.
Right. Why are you gonna like juke me out like that? Like, why are you just gonna play?
Yeah. And so then like, obviously he gives it to God, and then God like multiplies what the dream even was, like, in the end. And so just like, it's so true to like what surrendering stuff to God is like. Yeah. Because like, you might think you want this, but like, once you surrender it, like, God will make it way better than you can even imagine.
Yes.
It's wild.
It is.
We don't even know what to expect, but
no,
that's part of the journey.
It is. That's like the part where it's like, you truly trust God with everything. Like you're saying, it's part of the journey. Yep. And though you don't know where it might lead, you still are trusting the fact that God is going to do exactly what he does in it. It may not look like you think it's going to. Be like, oh, I want a business, so let me go about doing this. And then God is like, okay, you want a business and you want it to be successful, right? Of course, anybody opens a business, they want it to be successful. But God is like, how about this? How about even more success than you ever thought? And then everything's going to be easy for you, and you don't even have to worry about anything. There are no bills you have to pay, no nothing. Oh my gosh. Goes above and beyond what you could even like dream, like even perceive. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. You know how much
God is crazy.
The verse of the year is in this episode, because it's wild to think that like You submit these things to God. And then it's above anything that you could ever think or imagine.
Yep. It's crazy. Well, on that note, how do you even surrender to God?
By doing it. Just like a Nike check.
Just do it. Well, it's a little more complex than that, but the first thing I think, for me at least, was to stop being in control. Because I love being in control of my life.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. Does everyone like being in... I think so.
I think everybody likes to think that they're in control and have some sense of like, I made this happen.
That's true.
Like this is me.
Yeah. But we need to stop being in control because we're actually not in control.
We never were.
Even if we think we are, we're not. Like, God knows our steps. And then the second thing on how to surrender would be like, let God in.
Yeah.
Like, let him in your mind. Let him in your desires, in your fears, in your feelings, like everything.
Yeah.
Let him know like what's going on, and like just being able to, because like we often like have walls and like we might be angry at God because something happened in our lives, and we're just like, no, he can't have this part of my life,
right? You give him every other part except for this one, and you keep it concealed, and God is like, but I want all of you. That's not true surrender. If you don't give me everything.
No, it's not.
No.
So you gotta let God in, even though it's scary and it's hard.
Yeah.
And you're like, but why?
Oh my God, why?
And then I think the last thing is to trust him. Trust God, because he's for us.
And not against us.
He's not against us. He's for us. He wants what's best for us. He knows what's best for us.
He does.
And you can for real trust him with everything, with your whole life, because he's literally in control.
Right. His ways are better than my ways.
Right.
It goes back to Isaiah 55:9. Like, everything that we think is good or no, God is like, but I know better.
Yeah.
It's like when he was talking to Job, and Job was like, why God, why these things happen to me? And he was like, well, were you there when I created the earth? Were you there when these things happened? No.
Bro, he went off. He went off on Job.
God said, listen,
I created the world
and you weren't
there.
And it's like, that just shows that like how much God knows.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, I don't know. God is crazy, man. God is wild.
He is wild. So just trust him. So the 3 things that you should do, like, to surrender is stop being in control, let God in, and trust him.
Yeah. And going along with that, for me, like, it's like, what does surrender look like though?
Right.
You know, like, how do you surrender? What's your posture of surrender? So like physically, what does it look like? Because, you know, like you're saying, to stop being in control, to let God in, to trust him.
Yeah.
Well, how do you do that?
Right.
And I think Proverbs 3:5-6, it kind of says it like pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. So like, you can't be the one in control. You can't be the one who like understands everything. And then in that, like in the ways of acknowledging him, he will make your path straight.
Yeah.
So through this uncomfortable submission.
Yeah.
Through this like uncomfortable posture of surrender.
Yeah.
Like he'll make your path straight through all of that. And so
good.
What it looks like is getting on your knees, you know. You don't just, I don't know, there's something that's really humbling about that posture is like saying, okay, well, I will bow down, God, to your authority, to your control, and let go of everything. So I'm getting on my knees for that. It looks like raising your hands, and especially in worship too.
Yes.
You know, like we're not supposed to be stiff people. Like the God, no, like the Bible talks about like praise and worship, and it's with symbols, it's with hands raised, it's with your voice, it's with all these things. Like we're not meant to just stand stiff, but like lifting your hands in itself is the act of surrender. You know, like letting go of, I don't know, like letting go of chains that are binding you, and you say, no, I'm gonna lift my hands and worship, and it gives your heart like this openness.
Right.
That's just what it feels like. It gives you this openness to like truly then start worshiping God or whatever. It can even look like laying down, you know, like sometimes you get slain by the Spirit and then you fall out.
Yeah.
But that's a position that you put yourself in, because it's the same thing as getting on your knees. Like you're bowing down to God's authority,
right,
and letting him move in those spaces. Like it's anything for real, like for me physically, it's anything that seems uncomfortable to you.
Yeah.
Like any position that's uncomfortable than your norm is you saying, okay, God, I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be in this norm. So make me uncomfortable right now. So then you just, I don't know, you just like present those things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's good. There's a few verses on surrender that we wanted to share with you guys.
Yeah, just a couple. Some other things that we didn't really find a place for, but we think it's still really important for you guys to just get the whole vision of what surrender really looks like. And the first one is in Luke 9:23-24, and it says, "And he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." And I think like one thing that I forgot to mention, but I think is very, very crucial, and this verse does say it, is like, it says take up your cross daily. Yeah. Like surrender isn't just a one-time thing where you're just like, all right, today I surrendered. I'm good for the rest of my life. No. I don't have to let go of anything else. Like this is something that you have to conform to every single day, because every single day is a new things come up. Yeah. There are new things that you want to be in control of. There's new desires that you have. There's just stuff that like you have to let God take control of every single day, because if you don't, like, man, it could just eat you alive. Like this world is so heavy on us. You know, there's these influences, and if you don't, you know, let God have control of your day, let his will be done in your life every single day, like you can find yourself wrapped up and in a place you don't want to be at. Yeah. You know, it's something that I try to do every single day, to just be like, okay, God, your will, not mine. I open myself up to you, God. Whatever my desire is, I know that it's better anyways. Yeah. For your desire to be had. So like, here you go, God.
And then also with asking, like when asking, your will be done, like, you do whatever you want to do, God. Like that invites God to do more. Yeah. Like constantly. You're just like, do more. Like, yes, I'm here submitting myself. Yeah. So like just that constant like daily thing.
Yeah. Actually, you bring that up, and I've been doing research on this prayer. Yeah. And it's the prayer of Jabez. Yeah. But in it kind of just talks about, and I had never really understood it to this depth before, but it was just talking about like, God, enlarge my territory. Yeah. And like really what that's saying is, God, these are my desires, but I know that you can do more with them. So God, I open myself up even more to you so that you can increase and make this thing like better. So if I want wisdom, I'm praying for wisdom. I submit that to you. You see that request and you honor it, and then you give me more. Yeah. You're taking that in control. So
yeah, that's good.
Amen. That's it.
The second verse, the last verse that is about surrender is actually a pretty common one. It's in Romans 12:1-2.
Come on, Romans.
Yeah, I love Romans. It's so good.
It's a good book. This is time number 2 reading it in the last couple months.
Literally, same. But it says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect.
It's such a good verse, man.
It's so good. Do we need to say anything? I don't know.
No, I mean, back to Sunday, what Pastor Sonia was saying on Sunday, she was just talking about like, there's only 2 living sacrifices in the Bible. One was Jesus and the other one was Isaac. Yeah. Like, that's such an example to just live your life by. You know what it means to be living in God and to still surrender to still surrender and like sacrifice yourself and your desires and your will to God, because like Isaac didn't have to. Isaac could have been like, nah, Dad, I'm 20 something, you're like 130,
I can take you.
Yeah, exactly, like I could overpower you and I could whatever, but he said no, because he knew who God was, and he knew that if that was the will of the Lord, then obviously like there was a better plan and there was a better way. And Jesus, being Jesus, literally human and God at the same time, was like, God, if this is your will, Father, if this is your will, like, okay, I will submit under this. Like, if those aren't the two most perfect examples of how to be a living sacrifice, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it makes sense why there's only two, because they're like,
yeah. But also, like, the part of the verse where it just says, like, don't be conformed to the patterns of this world. Like, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That just also is a thing that, like, is daily. Like, you continue to, like, do these things daily because you want God to refresh you. You want God to renew your mind. And, like, you'll be able to tell what the will of the Lord is. Like, you through this.
And, like, it says not be conformed to this world because, like, surrender isn't even a part of the world.
Like, not like this.
No, like, they don't know what that means to surrender.
No.
Period. That's it.
Like, I don't know, y'all. If y'all don't feel this episode like we feel in this episode right now, we can't even complete our sentences.
I know.
That's just how good it is, dude. Oh, man. Anyways, takeaways. That's where we at right now. We made it to takeaways, y'all.
Wow.
Angelise, your takeaways?
My takeaway is, like, the fact that God will always give back more than we give up. It's so encouraging because, like, especially if it's like a desire that you really want and you're just like struggling to let it go. Just like the fact of knowing like God will give you so much more later if you like surrender it to you. It's
oh man,
I could cry right now, but I won't.
Oh, Jesus.
But I'm just like, that is just something like to always remember and just be encouraged by, because like his ways are obviously better.
Yeah.
And then my second takeaway is like the importance of being kingdom minded, just because like obviously we're here on earth right now, but like just having our minds set on, you know, God's kingdom and like being used for him and his glory and his will, like allows us to surrender more, like constantly. And just like, I don't know, there's a spiritual realm.
Yes, there is. Oh my gosh.
There's a spiritual realm, and like we're in the physical realm and we can't necessarily see the spiritual, but just knowing that it's there and like the importance of it, I think is very vital to be aware of.
Yeah. For me, I would say like one of my takeaways would definitely be like why God wants us to surrender.
Yeah.
You know, because like
why?
Exactly. Like you were saying before, this world doesn't really know surrender. So like why would God want us to do that?
Yeah.
And it's so that we can trust him. It's so that we can depend on him and all of that type of stuff. And through that we get to see the fruit of that faith.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that blew my mind just to even think about, to sit and think about, well, why God? Why would you want me to submit under your authority? Like, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me?
Yeah. So
I think that's very important. And then also like what we were just saying, what we just came off of, like how do we surrender, and then what it looks like to surrender.
Yeah.
I think it's just like you were like we've been saying, it's important to know these things.
Yeah.
So that when it comes to the time where God asks you to surrender, one, you know how, and then you also know why. So that like
you can do it, because if you don't, then you're just gonna be stuck.
Yeah,
where you're at.
And who wants to be stuck? Who likes to be in positions where you can't move?
No one.
No.
I hope.
Who likes? Yeah, no one likes that type of stuff. But yeah, I think it's really just cool to know and to have an idea, so that when the time does come, because it will come, God won't be like, oh, I'm not gonna ask you to surrender anything, but there, you know, you're fine, you're great, everything. No, he will ask you. So then to know what that position and that heart posture is, and to understand the reasons behind. Perfect.
Literally
perfect. All right, y'all. My absolute favorite part of this podcast is here. Y'all already know what it is. You already know what it is. I already know what it is.
Yeah.
Sherlock already knows what it is. It is Spotify Song of the Episode. And if you don't know what that is, because, hey, you're new here. It's just a playlist that we've created, and we put songs that hopefully encourage you throughout the week, throughout your whole entire lifetime, throughout everything that can just, show you Jesus in a new way.
Yeah.
And so today's song is I Surrender by Hillsong Worship.
That's fitting.
Yeah. I mean,
a little bit.
This apparently is Anjalisa's favorite song in the whole wide world.
It's not, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
This is like a newer version, or like not newer, but it's the same song. It's just updated. Like they redid it.
Yeah.
But it's like a song that I used to listen to all the time when I just like first got saved. So then when they redid it, I was like, okay.
You said, oh shoot,
that's crazy. I'll listen to it again.
No, it is a good song. I heard it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So it is very fitting for this, and I hope I don't know. I just hope that it touches your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we actually didn't release an episode on the first Friday of this month, but we actually do release episodes on the first and third Friday of every month.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at hidden_but_not_unseen, because we will be posting updates on there.
Yes, we will. So I hope you enjoy our banter as we go on this journey
through life together.